on MorningLine. Final segment, we're talking taxes. Well, Social Security. The last calls have been about taxes. We'll do our best to try to answer some of that for you. But if you have a question for Josh Horn here from the administration, call in. Final segment, you're applying for disability, SSI, wondering about your benefit if you're about to retire. Let's go next to Margie. Hi, Margie.
Hi, Nick.
Good morning. How can we help you?
I just had a comment to make on the lady that called in about what you were allowed to make.
Okay.
I asked that question just last year in reference to my brother at the time, who's passed away since. But that is dependent, of course, on your marital your filing status. But last year, or I guess it would have been the year before, maybe now, a person like 65 or older could have made, I believe it was $11,500 before you were required to file a return.
Oh, okay.
Excluding, of course, you don't have to count that Social Security.
$11,500.
I believe that's what it was, but that's been a couple of years ago when I asked that, so it may have gone up now.
Okay. So, well, that's good.
Yeah,
you need to know where that line is. I appreciate your call on that. I think a lot of people wondering the same thing sometimes. It's tricky to know how much you can, especially like you're on SSI or not SSI, disability, and you want to try to get back to work. And you guys have told about how you've got that year to give it a shot and try, and you can earn as much as you can, and we'll see how that works. But everyone's worried that they're going to slip up, earn too much, and have their benefit pulled. That's why I think, and I really appreciate her call. I hope that helps. I would venture to guess that 11.5 maybe has gone up a bit if that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's probably a little more. Let's go to Stan. Hi, Stan.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Stan.
I just have probably a simple question. I hope that he can answer, and you won't.
Sure.
But why do some people like myself, when I filed for my disability, got back pay, and yet my nephew, about the same age, same disability, when he got approved, he never did get any back pay? Is there some reason for that?
Yeah, well, there could be a couple of different reasons. We do protect you for when you first call in, and then sometimes we can actually go back retroactive for up to a year depending on your work activity. So, if you've been off work for a couple years because of your disability, and then you finally, then you come in and say, well, I can't work, I got to come in and file for disability, and then we approve you. We can actually, even from the point you first contacted us, we can actually go back a year. And so there may be a year's worth of back pay that we can pay you there. And then also it kind of depends on when you are actually found to be disabled. So some folks will go in and they'll say, I'm disabled, but it takes us a couple of years. Maybe they have to go to the hearing level. And the judge might look at all their records and say, well, when you first contacted us, you weren't disabled, but, about a year later, when you had this surgery and it went bad, then you became disabled. And so they may only partially approve your claim, and so you may only have so much back pay. And the other thing I'll mention, too, is there's a 5-month waiting period for anybody. With the exception of somebody who has Lou Gehrig's disease, everybody has to wait 5 months for your benefits to start. So if you come in today, let's say you had a traumatic injury last week, you come in and you file for disability, and you're approved like that, you've got to wait 5 months for it to start. And so, depending on the type of injury, if your nephew or son, I can't remember who you said, your nephew, had some kind of traumatic injury, and so it was quickly approved. He might have had to actually wait for a few months for his benefits to kick in because of that 5-month waiting period, whereas yours may have been a progressive disability that took a couple of years to come on, and then again you may have had some retroactive. So there's a few different reasons there. I kind of threw a few of them out. Hopefully that helps answer.
Yeah, if it's case specific. Certainly in that instance, when it came about, all he needs to do is check the caseworker. If he's getting a benefit now, but he didn't get a back pay, just ask, hey, where's my back pay, and see if they can explain to you why not. And again, you'll have the details on how you can track that down. Just give them the info. Let's go next to Steve. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. I have a question about the back pay.
Okay.
The thing is, I finally, after 5 years, received my benefits for SSI. Well, I received a letter saying that I would not get a lump sum payment for back pay. Instead, I would get like every 6 months, like a partial payment instead of the lump sum. In a hardship case, why is that? Well, to them in a hardship situation to get your lump sum back pay? Thank you.
Great question. And what he's talking about is the SSI program. There are some rules written into the SSI law, the SSI part.
That's different than...
Which is different than Social Security disability, that basically says there's only so much that we can, of the back pay that we can let out at a time. I believe it's about $2,000 at the most, and then that's every 6 months. And so, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And the other answer to the answer to the second part of your question is that yes, you can ask for more of that money to be released, but you have to give us a specific reason. So if we give you that first installment, but then you need some more money to pay off medical expenses, or to pay on your house, or to buy a new car.
Well, if it's hardship and he doesn't have much time to live.
There's,
could that be a reason? I didn't know if he said hardship. I'm just guessing. If he's got a year to live, is that a reason to maybe get it faster?
I mean, that's a good. You got me, Nick. That's a good question. I'm not familiar with any provisions on that, but that's not necessarily saying because that does sound reasonable. But I know most often what people are needing is money for some specific expenses, like to pay off medical bills or buy a new car, or something along those lines. And all we need is a little statement to that fact, and then we can release that additional money. And so I believe that happens pretty frequently in the office.
Social Security, because of the nature of what it does, is tight by definition. Really sticks to the rules. But I'll tell you, SSI is a heck of a lot tighter than regular disability. That money, just because it's something where you didn't pay in, and it's really a safety net for those who just have not been able to work. Boy, it's a lot tighter there than even for Social Security disability. It's just there's not a lot of money there. Let's go next to Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. Or Barbara. Barbara. Go ahead, Barbara.
Yes.
Hi.
Recently, I signed up for disability, and I was denied several times. And I turned 67 January the 6th, 2016. So each time that they denied me on disability, they would say that I didn't qualify for any payment of Social Security. So I didn't know I was eligible for supplemental security income. So they told me I was eligible ever since I turned 65. I was wondering, would I get a lump sum from the age of 65 to 67?
If you were applying for Social Security during that time period, and we didn't talk to you about the SSI program, you may very well, in fact, be protected. In fact, I know we do this from time to time, but Nick, I'd kind of like to get her information, because if you're over 65 and we didn't talk to you about the SSI program, we need to make that right, and you may be, in fact,
So
I didn't qualify for any other program when they denied me for the disability. And also, I'd like to ask, they said that I couldn't file for supplemental security income unless I withdrew my disability claim that I have pending.
All right. Well, Barbara, and by the way, Barbara, stay on the line there on this case. She's on line 1, Rick, and we're going to get your phone number, okay? And what's that? Oh, 4 minutes. I'm sorry. Yeah, she's on line 1, Rick, and if you get the number, we'll pass that on to you. Yeah. Thank you for checking on that.
Absolutely, because and the thing is that most, everybody thinks of SSI as a disability program, but if you're over age 65,
I was going to say,
and you're not, and
you're already qualified for your Social Security benefit at that point.
And a lot of times you may have not worked for whatever reason through your life, and then all of a sudden, you find yourself over 65, and you're not qualified, or not qualified for very much Social Security.
Okay.
Some people have only worked a little bit, and so they may only be due a couple $100s a month in Social Security. Well, that's not anything.
Right.
And they find themselves on limited income and resources for whatever reason, and they qualify for the SSI program. You don't have to be disabled if you're over age 65, and a lot of folks don't know that, and we try to catch those anytime we can, because obviously that's
good. Well, thank you for Rick will pass that number to you after the show, and appreciate you doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's go to Patricia. Hi, Patricia.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead, Patty.
Yes, I have a question. Like, I'm totally disabled, and I have got, okay, I'm totally disabled.
Okay.
And I have got W-2 form from Social Security. Do I need to file
Okay.
Yeah, so it sounds like some of the things we've been talking about earlier is if you got your 1099 from Social Security, and then depending on how much is on there and how much IRS requires when the IRS requires you to file, would determine whether you need to file a claim. I know we had a caller earlier that said that a couple years ago it was $11,500, maybe a little bit different now, but that's definitely something you want to take a look at and see. And it also depends on if there's any other kind of income, taxable income, coming into your house.
So she's wondering if she might owe something. And she has that tax form. Sometimes if you don't owe taxes or you're not getting any, you can still, if you get the form, you can still file. If you just wanted to do it, file anyway, and they'll have it on record, and I guess you'll hear from them if something went wrong. But it's real hard to answer those tax questions on the air here. But if you have that form, it all comes down to how much other money you are making, Patricia, all right? How much she has. And we talked about that. You make more than through other means aside from your benefit from Social Security disability than $11,500. It's probably a larger number than that. If you don't, if you make less than $11,500, I don't think I'd worry about it. Okay? I think the government's got better things to do than go after some poor woman who's on disability. All right? You think maybe?
Right.
I hope so. So they don't waste our taxpayer dollars going after someone like her. And I don't think they're going to anyway, unless you've got a big chunk of other income coming. As we wrap things up, anything else? Let's just remind folks again, go to My Social Security portal, right?
Yeah,
log on.
It's a great place to gather information. We're also available over the phone. We can do a lot of business over the phone if you're not able to go online. And then also you can come into the office. But if you come into the office, just like to tell folks, prepare to wait, because there's a lot of folks coming in to see us every day.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's going to be very generational difference down the road here where, my son, provided Social Security is still around, will be able to, he'll be much more computer savvy. That's younger. I'm modestly computer savvy. Some of these people that are calling in, as we've had today, don't even go on computers. And they're an older generation. I respect that. Again, if that's the case, you go in person, you make the phone call, or you give it a shot with a computer and you can get access to one at your public library. Yep. So do that. That portal's great.
Yeah, I think we have now click to chat.
Yeah.
I think we're starting that up now.
Answering questions and all that.
A lot of good stuff going on.
But the best way to chat is talk to Josh when he comes on here. We'll see you again in about a month, my friend, right?
Sounds good.
Josh, thank you for coming on. We'll take a break. Be back. Programming note about tomorrow right after this. Stay with us.